The benefits of going on a business transformation journey are taking what's worked for businesses over the last 20 years and enhancing them, levelling them up for the next 20. Most engineering businesses will have lots of different processes, sometimes working in silos. So from design, manufacturing, quality, compliance, fabrication. And what we do is take a holistic view of the whole business processes, how that can be combined, enabling those people to collaborate more effectively, which ultimately makes projects more profitable, reduces your time to market, and maintains your competitive advantage over your competitors.
Discovery process is a joint consultative proposal engagement. Allows us to work with senior people inside a prospect or a customer. Also allows us to talk to places like engineering, quality, purchasing, to look at some of the issues and pains that they've had or have had in the past, but also allows us to look at how we can propose a 3D experience solution to move them forward into the future.
So we're seeing a number of challenges faced by automotive businesses at this moment in time. One of the most important factors for them to focus on is this sustainability element, the impact that that's having on purchasing departments, quality departments, compliance departments. All of these business units across the board mean that it's a really important piece, and getting it right is becoming more and more challenging. It's not just about doing something net zero. It's about making sure the parts that you're sourcing are being procured in the right way, how they get to you, as well as the actual materials that are being used. Another challenge that we're seeing is increased complexity. So with the advent of autonomous vehicles, trends in AI being involved in automotive, the electrification of the drive chains, this means for a number of businesses, the designers within each of those units are having to work harder and harder, and also collaborate more effectively in order to be able to deliver these projects. Previously, you would have mechanical design engineers in one office, electrical on another, both using disparate systems, not speaking to one another, and having to pull it all together in the end. One of the ways that we help people overcome that is by providing collaboration tools that are compatible with both pieces of software or individual pieces of software, allowing people to work in a multi-CAD environment. By doing so, they're able to reduce the number of errors, reduce the time to market, and therefore increase the profitability of the projects they're working on.
Working with suppliers, supply chain is an issue. 3D experience through the single source of truth brings a big benefit to suppliers, working with OEMs and main supply companies. Also areas such as product development, we've seen issues with people using kind of lower end systems for product development and not being able to produce what they want to do at the end of the day. So 3D experience gives them a massive benefit in that respect.
Another challenge we're seeing and increased demand for is reduced time to market. It's so important now, particularly with these electric vehicles, of being the first one to market. I mean, Tesla's got there primarily for the most part, but now it's all about niche, particularly in these niche vehicles, people that are working in spaces like last mile delivery in urban environments, the requirements to lower emissions in those environments mean that people are racing to become the first mover there. The challenge that puts on them and the burden that means they have to carry is that they need to work quickly and effectively, and they can't afford to make lots of errors. That's compounded by the fact that they're startups, so limited resources at the best of times. What we try and do to help these types of businesses is connect their engineering processes through the 3D Experience platform. So the trends that I'm expecting to see grow over the next few years in the automotive sector are switch to more sustainable fuels, whether that be biomass, hydrogen fuels, electrification. All of these routes are being heavily explored at this moment in time by a number of our customers.
It goes back to the sustainability area. Massive development in battery technology at the minute, but part of the problem you see with automotive, batteries, as we all know, quite heavy. So areas such as lightweighting in automotive is becoming a big trend right now. So Dassault have wonderful products within the 3D Experience platform. Geometry design is part of that product set, helps customers to look at lightweighting and also look at areas such as 3D printing, which is becoming a big area.
The business transformation team helps businesses stay relevant in an ever-changing landscape, particularly with this shift to electrification, by taking this thread of connected engineering, which has traditionally been the approach, connecting design and validation with manufacturing and fabrication, and extrapolating that to the wider business. So now it's not just engineering working in a silo, but it's a whole business process with operations, fulfillment, sales, marketing, all being able to access this same single point of truth around the types of products and innovations that businesses are creating. So no longer engineering working in a single silo of themselves, but they're connected to sales, marketing, fulfillment, after sales, aftermarket. All of that is then joined up and underpinned by a single source of truth and collaboration through the 3D Experience platform. A lot of what's driving adoption of the 3D Experience platform at the moment is supply chain, dealing with OEMs like Ford and Jaguar Land Rover. In order to do that, they need to be able to connect to JLR's on-premise 3D Experience platform, and that's how JLR are sending, sharing, receiving data for their new projects. It's been this way for the last few years. It's only going to get more entrenched, and so in order for people in the supply chain to not miss out on this opportunities to work with these large OEMs and win these big contracts, they should be using the 3D Experience platform to manage their data, their engineering data, and collaborate with their supply chain. Suppliers don't have to be driven by OEMs on what systems they use. If they were to take the first step and sort of take the lead on a 3D Experience deployment, they'd be able to capture all that value from their supply chain and enhance it and compound it within their own business through this connected engineering piece and the platform, meaning that when they're then winning those projects with OEMs, they're able to do it more profitably and perhaps win more tenders, bids, through their ability to work in this more efficient manner. Typically, I look to work with businesses and business leaders that recognise that they are, suffering from inefficiencies in the workplace. Up to sometimes, I think I heard like 30% of a design engineer's time is spent doing non-value added tasks, things like answering emails, chasing up approval processes. If you think about that in a workforce of say 20, how many man hours are lost every month to these non-value add tasks, and what impact does that have on delivery times, project costs, all of those sorts of things. So business leaders should be thinking about what those sorts of efficiency gains can do for their businesses and bottom lines, and then what that means they've got as a sort of a war chest then to invest in the business, and spearhead innovation going forwards. If you've been able to manage your people, your engineering data and your supply chain more effectively using 3D Experience, you're able to do so much more for the business going forwards.